Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we are putting on our detective hats and we're treating this whole thing as an investigator's guide to demystifying pump failures. Look, whether you're working in water supply, oil and gas, power plants, or even commercial HVAC systems, you already know pumps are the beating heart of the entire operation, right? And when they go down, even for tiny, seemingly insignificant issues, it can literally lead to massive, incredibly serious downtime. But don't worry, because by the end of our time together today, you're going to have a highly practical, totally beginner-friendly framework. You'll understand exactly why these pumps fail, how to catch those problems early, and exactly how to fix them safely and efficiently.
Okay, let's dive into this. Picture this. You walk up to a massive, screaming piece of industrial equipment that just isn't working. It is so easy to assume the entire system is completely shot, right? Well, the data actually reveals something totally fascinating. A staggering 70% of all pump issues are merely suction problems. 70%. Just think about that for a second. Before your mind jumps to the absolute worst-case scenario, remember that the vast majority of the time, the pump is literally just struggling to pull the fluid in. Honestly, knowing this instantly lowers the intimidation factor. You don't always have to tear apart a massive engine. Sometimes, you just need to clear a pathway.
So here's our official investigation protocol for today. First, we'll look at how pumps actually work. Second, we'll identify the most common pump problems. Third, we'll go through a step-by-step troubleshooting sequence. Fourth, we'll tackle the real danger of cavitation. And finally, we'll wrap up with prevention and some final advice. Let's get to it. Section 1. How pumps work. Let's look at the core mechanism. Before we can actually go out and interrogate our suspect, we really need to understand how it operates normally. At its absolute most basic level, a pump's entire job in life is just to create a pressure difference. It moves fluid from an area of low pressure to an area of high pressure. That's it. That is the underlying physics of the whole operation. Now, out in the field, you'll generally run into two main mechanisms that make this happen. First up, centrifugal pumps. These use a motor combined with a spinning impeller to essentially throw the fluid outward, and that creates the pressure difference. On the flip side, we have positive displacement pumps. These use a physical piston or a gear mechanism to actively trap the fluid and literally force it through the system. Now, here is the golden rule for both of these. If any single part of these systems fails, whether we're talking about the motor, the impeller, or the gears, performance drops immediately. The whole system absolutely relies on harmony. Moving on to Section 2, common pump problems, or as I like to call them, the usual suspects. So what exactly happens when that harmony breaks down? Well, when you first arrive on the scene of a malfunctioning pump, your absolute first check should actually be the simplest thing in the world, the power. Is the pump even starting? If not, check for a tripped breaker, maybe a blown fuse, or some kind of control system fault. Always verify the actual electrical supply voltage at the main power panel. If you smell something burning or hear this weird humming noise but nothing is moving, you might be looking at a motor winding failure. You gotta rule out the power first. Now, what's really interesting about all this is what happens when the pump is running. The motor's spinning, but there is absolutely zero flow. It's doing all the work for literally zero result. If you see this, first check if the pump is primed. If there is air trapped inside, it simply cannot move liquid. Next, check the wildly obvious, is the suction valve actually open? You would be amazed how often that's the real culprit. Also, inspect your piping joints for any air leaks in the suction line, and lastly, just make sure the impeller itself isn't blocked by a bunch of debris. Now, sometimes you do a flow, but it's super weak, or the pump is just violently shaking and making an absolute racket. Low flow combined with excessive noise, that strongly points to mechanical clues. You're going to want to clean out the suction strainer. It basically acts like a filter and gets clogged up incredibly easily. Also, check the motor rotation direction. If it's running backwards, that's going to completely kill your flow. Check for any loose foundation bolts or maybe a coupling misalignment that's causing all those vibrations. And here's a big one. Listen carefully. Do you hear a distinct gravel sound? Like a bunch of actual rocks tumbling around inside the casing? That is cavitation, which is a very specific, highly dangerous issue that we are going to dig into very shortly. To wrap up our usual suspects, we've got two massive red flags to watch out for: overheating and seal leakage. If that pump is extremely hot to the touch, it might be what we call dry running. This means there is literally zero liquid inside to cool it down and lubricate it. If you even suspect dry running, stop the pump immediately. No hesitation, it will completely destroy itself in record time. Overheating can also stem from bearing failure or excessive friction because something is misaligned. And hey, if you see puddles of liquid pooling under the pump, you need to inspect the mechanical seals. They do wear out over time, especially if the system is dealing with excessive pressure or a misaligned shaft, and they will definitely need to be replaced. All right, Section 3. Step-by-step troubleshooting. This is our official investigation protocol.
Okay, we know the suspects. Now, how do we systematically track them down without getting totally lost in the weeds? Let's move to a proven sequence and see how this builds. Step 1. Safety first. Absolutely crucial. Always switch the power off and apply lockout/tagout LOTO. Never ever touch a live system. Step 2. Visual inspection. Just step back and look at it. Do you see leakage? Do you feel intense vibrations? How does the piping actually look? Step 3. Electrical check. Let's look at the voltage supply, the motor current, and the protection relay status. Step 4. Mechanical check. You want to ensure smooth shaft rotation. Check that the coupling alignment is good and verify the bearing condition. And finally, step 5. Hydraulic check. Go look at your gauges. What is the suction pressure reading? The discharge pressure? What's the actual flow rate? Honestly, if you follow these 5 steps systematically every single time, you are going to isolate the problem. No guessing required.
Let's head into section 4, the danger of cavitation, basically the absolute worst offender in pump damage. Now, through those hydraulic checks we just talked about, you might actually uncover the single most critical concept in this entire explainer. We are looking at the ultimate culprit for internal pump damage, cavitation. So what is it? Cavitation happens when the pressure inside a pump drops below the vapor pressure of the liquid, causing air bubbles to violently form and collapse, which then damages the impeller. Think about that. You are essentially boiling the liquid at room temperature simply because the pressure is so low. When these little bubbles travel into the high-pressure side of the pump, they implode, and they do it with incredible force. Physically, this manifests as that loud crackling, gravel sound we talked about earlier. You'll get intense vibration, a sudden massive drop in flow rate, and honestly, if left unchecked, it will literally eat away chunks of the solid metal on your impeller. Identifying that gravel sound is a great first step, but as an investigator, you're here to solve the case. So the big question, how do you actually fix cavitation when you encounter it? We really need to shift our mindset here from just observing the problem to actively solving it. So the crucial point here is that you have to address the pressure drop that is creating those destructive bubbles in the first place. You basically have to make it easier for the pump to feed. You can actually fix cavitation by increasing the suction pressure or by reducing the suction lift. That just means don't force the pump to pull the liquid from so deep down or from so far away. Make sure you clean out that strainer so the fluid flows perfectly free. And this is a big one. Literally never throttle or partially close your suction valve, ever. You want that suction pathway completely wide open so the pressure doesn't drop too low and start boiling your liquid. Finally, section 5, prevention and final advice. It's time to close the case. All right, we've successfully solved the mystery of the broken pump. But hey, the best investigators don't just solve crimes after the fact, right? They prevent them from happening in the first place. By establishing a few really simple routine habits, you will vastly extend the lifespan of your equipment. First, make sure you lubricate your bearings regularly. Get on a schedule to clean out that suction strainer weekly or monthly, depending on how heavy your operation is. Check your coupling alignment during every single maintenance cycle. Please, put safeguards in place to absolutely avoid any dry running. Monitor your equipment's vibration levels over time so you can actually spot the trends before they turn into full-blown failures. And always maintain proper NPSH, which stands for net positive suction head. I know it sounds super technical, but it's really just a fancy way of saying make sure there's always enough fluid pressure at the pump inlet so you don't cause cavitation. And this brilliantly illustrates how we can pull everything we've discussed today into one super simple matrix. Think of this as your ultimate cheat sheet. If there's no flow, immediately suspect an airlock and just reprime the pump. If you've got low pressure, start looking for a clog and clean the system out. If you hear that awful grovel noise, think cavitation and check the suction line right away. If you visibly see leakage, it is very likely a seal failure, so get in there and replace the seal. And finally, if you have overheating, you might be looking at a dry run, so your absolute first action must be to stop that pump immediately. As we wrap this explainer up, I want to leave you with some genuinely empowering advice directly from the guide. Always start with simple checks first. Don't immediately assume major failure. Remember that 70% statistic we talked about right at the beginning? Most of these issues are literally just suction problems. Keep a dedicated maintenance logbook. Write down exactly what you hear, what you see, what you fix. That historical data is completely invaluable for troubleshooting future problems. Seriously, you do not have to be intimidated by these machines at all. So, armed with your new 5-step investigation protocol, a really solid understanding of the usual suspects, and the precise knowledge of how to defeat cavitation, you are officially ready for the floor. I'll leave you with this final provocative thought. Are you ready to catch the next pump failure before it even happens? Keep your eyes wide open. Always be listening for that gravel sound, and remember to always start simple. Happy troubleshooting, everyone!